Thanks for staying on the program. Now, aggrieved junior doctors have kicked against the proposal by government to settle their salaries by Friday. Employment and Labour Relations Minister Haruna Idrisu is currently meeting the leadership of the doctors to resolve the issue. A meeting with the Deputy Health Minister Victor Bampo ended inconclusively. The doctors earlier this morning picketed at the office of the Controller and Accountant General's Department to demand payment of their monies, despite assurances from the Finance Minister Setekwe that the arrears will be paid in 2 weeks. Some of the junior doctors who spoke on the Super Morning show a while ago say government has not been true to its word of paying their monies.
It's heartening, the level of denigration that has bedeviled this nation, that a group of doctors will have to transverse the length and breadth of this country to come and demand for what is rightfully theirs. And as for the minister promising, a lot of mendacious falsehoods have been propagated in the media. For instance, a certain Mr. Barr came and said only 3 people have done their biometric registration, which is very untrue. So there's no way we are going to hold him.
Tell us who Mr. Barr is.
He is in charge of payments at the head of payroll at the Controller and Accountant General's.
Basically, the guy who is supposed to
pay us.
All right.
You understand? So, given a lot of, excuse my language, lies that have been peddled in the media, we cannot believe anything that they tell us from this moment on. So that's why we have come here with all our documentation, including our birth certificates, if they want to verify our nationalities, our biometric registration forms, our certificates from school, and even if they want to take our DNA samples, we are here. They should take our body samples and verify who we really are, because we can't be working for 11 solid months without our salary. You can't even begin to imagine the sort of work we do in the hospitals. We go for 24 hours making life and death decisions on empty stomachs. We are hungry, angry, and tired, and we demand what is rightfully ours.
Dr.
This is quite a sad and unfortunate situation we find ourselves in as a country, where you have to fight for your own rights and what is due you. And as I want to say is, we will not back down what we've started. And we want the people of Ghana to know that this problem is not just affecting just a few house officers or junior doctors, but there are other public servants out there who have not been paid for several months. The fact is that we cannot keep waiting anymore. We want our due now. We've been promised several times when we started work from last year, September, that it's going to take about 3 to 6 months to get paid. The process will continue by itself. After 6 months, there's nothing to show for it. We didn't have our staff IDs generated, no biometric registration. We forced, threatened strike, then we're made to do all that. Now we are waiting for the pay, and we keep hearing all kinds of promises. We are tired of the promises. We want our pay now.
Well, we'll get you the very latest on the ground in a bit, but let's go to the Western region now, where the local primary school in the Elembele district is on the verge of collapse. The situation is so bad, both teachers and pupils fear their lives are in danger.
A visit to the school revealed that the building served as a market, but the need to educate children in the poor farming communities led residents to convert it into a school. Several years on, the dream to educate children is gradually fading as school activities come to a standstill anytime it rains. The dire situation is compounded by the lack of tables and chairs, toilet facilities and teaching materials. The Aluku Primary School does not have enough teachers' quarters, with the existing one in the west of states. The lack of tables and chairs is visible here, as only 10 out of 40 pupils in Primary 2 have to use them, meaning 4 children will have to share a desk. Those who could not manage have to either sit or lie on the floor to take lessons. The results: tattered uniforms. Work on the new classroom block has stalled, prompting the assistant headmaster of the school, Abdullahi Mohammed, to call on the district assembly for immediate intervention.
Yeah, coming down to our location of our school, sometimes it's very marvelous. Yeah, you can see the structure here. It was 1980 something structure for our forefathers who came around here for powder, kawarin. They did all this thing for us. And from that time, we have no any structure to help. Whenever there's rain, you cannot stay in the class, as you can see it. So if this structure is able to complete within first term, sometimes it will be very nicely for us. Like coming to our education background, library, these things, you get them. And when there's a rainfall, you can stay inside, camping the children nicely for any damage to be out. But as at now, you can see around you. Look at our quarters too. It is not, you see, you cannot even as a teacher being at the training carriage, coming down here and staying for this structure. It's not good. So we are pleading the government to come up nicely and help us from first term going. We are pleading that first term we should be able to complete the structure so that you can go inside and educate the children so that they can achieve very good aim for future.
Now, 2 more people have been confirmed dead after a 3-story building collapsed at cantonments in Accra. This increases the death toll to 3. 19 survivors were rescued from the rubble. Lord Eduasari has more.
The rescue operation was carried out by military personnel, officials of the National Disaster Management Organization, as well as the Ghana National Fire Service. 4 excavators were used in the 48-hour-long exercise. Acting National Coordinator for NADMO, Brigadier General Francis Vibzanziri disclosed that 12 of the survivors have been treated and discharged.
Out of the 20, 12 have been treated and discharged. 7 are still on admission, 3 in police hospital, 4 at the military hospital.
Some workers who were at the site indicated that they suspected the collapse to be as a result of cracks they discovered in one of the pillars in the building. However, Brigadier General Francis Vibzanziri says the investigations are underway.
Now, speaking to me moments ago, a civil engineer, Nana Sapon Ajimambedu, said a number of these tragic incidences could be avoided if developers will engage professionals on their project site. He said the attempt to run away from the actual cost required at the initial stages by these developers is largely attributable to eventual collapses of this nature.
And he's moving on to the next level. You're actually adding more weight onto the structure, which has already not achieved its full strength. And for me, I believe a preliminary thought would be that could be the possible cause. The concrete had not cured fully.
Indeed. Now, for one of the workers, again, I'm going to go to the same soundbite who said, look, we're using inferior materials and all that. I don't see, well, it would take a really greedy investor to decide that I want to use inferior materials to put up a structure. But maybe the materials are on the market and you don't know it's inferior.
Yeah, it's true. For instance, if you take 12mm iron rods, sometimes when you go on market, the people selling actually sell you 11mm, which is below specification. When we are doing our designs, we design it according to 12mm. So if you're going to buy and you do not ask them to check the diameter of your iron rods, you could be shortchanged. And in the long run, you come back and some years to come, you see your building will start tumbling down. And I see that a lot of buildings in Accra here, which, excuse me to say, they are like someone who has HIV. You know, they are all well cladded, well designed, very beautiful looking. But underneath all that, you can see that the materials they are very, very poor, and they are just a time bomb waiting for one day to just crumble down.
What should we be doing?
We should, first of all, I would advise that we should seek the right professional guidance.
Well, let's get onto the phone lines and speak to the MCE of Dade Kotopong, Rita Dole, under whose jurisdiction the building collapsed, well, within which the building collapsed. Thanks for joining us here, Madame Odole.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your service listeners.
Indeed. Now, how does this tragedy come to your assembly?
I don't know what to say, but first and foremost, I want to share my condolence, express my condolence to the bereaved family. Yeah, it hasn't gotten to us too well.
I see. Now, there are concerns about the location of this building, whether or not they had permits to put up the 3 stories under construction. What's your response to that?
Yes, I want the general public to know that the collapsed building didn't have a permit when the process. They started before we realized they were doing such a development. And so we went in there to ask them to stop work. And I met the developer myself. We invited him to the assembly. He came, I spoke to him. And so they agreed to stop work until we are done with the permit. And not knowing they were working undercover before the permit had gone through.
I see. Let's talk about the fact that in spite of the lack of permits, they were working. And I'd just like to put, when you say uncover, how do you, they were working undercover, how do you mean? Because it was in broad daylight that these people were working.
We had gone in to stop them, and we were processing their documents for permits, to grant them permits, continue with whatever they were doing. And so for us as an assembly, we knew we had asked them to stop. And we said a couple of times they were not working. So within the period they were working, that's why I'm saying that they were undercover. Because I met Mr. Dabla myself, and he assured me, since we have asked them to stop, they have stopped.
Well, the other argument is that the assembly did not keep an eye on this property, even after he had gone there to put a signage for the workers to stop, for the developer to stop work on the property.
We kept an eye on it, but it's just an unfortunate situation because we couldn't have done 24-hour, kept a 24-hour surveillance, and like I said, we invited him to the assembly, and we made him understand that they needed to stop work until the permit had been processed. So and they agreed to it.
At what stage of the permit was this?
Come again?
At what stage of the process in acquiring the permit was this?
He started before we went in to stop him to get.
No, I'm asking. He had started. He had not been given the permit, but the processes had started. The question I'm asking is, at what stage had he got to?
He had gotten to the first floor. He hadn't floored the first one when we got in there. They had done the wooden loggings when we asked him to stop for the first floor.
I see. And so what happens now? This building it's come to the ground. What steps are we expecting the assembly to take going forward?
Yeah, NADMO went in there, so we'll come up with our report. And I always appeal to the people that they need to come to the assembly to get us do the right thing. And we've been moving around a lot. And so we'll still be on track doing what we do, asking people to come for the permit. We ensure that they have the right documentation. And then we, as an assembly, building inspectors have to be there when you start your foundation and all that to ensure that you are putting in the right materials for the work.
Very well. Thank you very much. Rita Odole is MCE for La Dade Kotopon. There's more to come here. We'll get you including the very latest on the ground from the Accountant General's Department as far as the junior doctors is concerned. Simply say. I'm glad you could stay on the program. A 36-year-old man is in the custody of the National Security Secretariat for carrying a weapon at President John Mahama's church. Communications Minister Edward Omane-Boama revealed this on social media yesterday. It is not clear what weapon the man was carrying. Well, Hannah Adame has been to the Secretariat and joins us here in the studio with more. Hello, Hannah. What do we know about this man?
We know that, according to what I was told, he is a gentleman who has on 3 occasions been to this same church, according to the ushers. someone that I spoke to told me that the ushers reported to the BNI when the police came there. Now, he has been there 3 consecutive Sundays, and unfortunately, the president has not been there. We don't know whether his target was him, but when he was questioned, he said the seat of the presidency belongs to him. That's why he had the gun. This gun is a locally manufactured gun, as I was told by the eyewitness. And we are told that for these 3 Sundays, he comes to church very early. The church starts at 7:30, but he comes very early. He comes in, hangs around, and around 7 he gets in there, and he sits on the 4th seat. The first 3 seats are reserved for the big people of the church, the deacons and all of that, and he sits on the 4th row. Now, on this particular Sunday, which was yesterday, as he was sitting there, he kept fidgeting, and so as we are told, there's a gentleman sitting by him saw it, and then told the security guard of the Chief Justice, who immediately came in, took him out, and upon search found this gun. When he was questioned, he gave 2 accounts. We are told the first one, he said that he owes somebody, and so he keeps asking the person to give him the money, so he feels that the person might come after him, so he has to protect himself. But when he was taken to the security officers and he was asked to write a statement, he wrote something different, according to what I was told. He said that since ex-president Kufuor left the seat of government, he's always wanted to occupy that seat because he thinks it's for him. And so when President Mills...
It's for him to be president?
It's for him to be president.
Okay.
That's what I'm told. So when ex-president Mills was also on the throne, or on the seat, he wanted to meet him and tell him the seat is for him, but he didn't get the opportunity. And then finally, President Mahama. So he's been trying to find ways of getting through to him, only to be told that this is where he attends church, Assemblies of God, Ringgold Branch. So he went there to meet him. Unfortunately, the president was not there. We don't know what would have happened if the president was there.
I see. Now, you went around the church. What reactions did you pick up from there?
I didn't see a lot of people around because it's a very quiet community. But the few people that I spoke to are those who attend church there, and they gave me all this information because I tried to get through to the pastor or the administrator or any official of the church. I did not, because I'm told they have a convention this evening, so they come later during the day, and they were having meetings. But you could see that it's a building under construction, but they have another place where they hold a service. It's a beige color, as we can see. It's a beige color with a dark brown roof, and work was going on for the main auditorium, but there was this other one where they go and have service. It's a very small church for all these people who come there. And there were a lot of the people around, the few people that I spoke to around were saying that they are so happy the president was not there, because regardless of all the security put in place, where this guy was sitting and where they found the pistol on him, should he have just held on it, he would have shot somebody, regardless of all the security. So they were asking that if possible, because the president attends church there, they should have a security pass or something for everybody, whether he comes to church or not, because members of his family also come to church there anyway.
I see. Thank you very much, Hannah. Hannah brought us details after she went gathering information on a gunman who went to the president's church last Sunday with the aim of meeting the president. Let's go back to the telephone and talk about these aggrieved junior doctors who have besieged the premise of the Accountant General to demand payment of 11 months arrears in salaries. And Felix Akoyam has joined us with details from there. Hello, Felix.
Hello, Kamini.
What can you report now?
The meeting with the junior doctors. I mean, there's been a resolution now. Labor and Employment Minister Haruna Idrisu met the doctors briefly, and the decision now is that the doctors will be paid. 64 of them will receive their monies by Wednesday, and the remaining 20 of them are going to receive their compensation, a compensation till August, when all the 11 months owed them are paid to them.
Now, what's the reaction from the doctors?
It's been a mixed reaction. Some of them are okay with it, others are not too happy, but essentially the leadership have agreed to it, and what they are telling us now is that they are going to wait till Wednesday by 4:30. If the money hits the accounts of the 64, then, I mean, that will be okay. They will be okay with that. But if these monies do not hit the accounts, then they will come back and sell pickets at the Controller and Accountant General Department. But earlier, Labour and Employment Minister Haruna Idris admitted that government had delayed in resolving this issue, and he indicated that government is going to put in place a policy now to resolve these issues, and essentially we are not going to see a repeat of this the coming year. He's saying that, the doctors are going to be paid early.
Where are the doctors now?
Some of them are still around there. They are still, celebrating over it, but others too have left.
Thank you very much, Felix. Felix Akoyam joined us from the offices of the Accountant General. Well, now off to the Western region, where Regional Minister Paul Evans Adu says the collapse of the rail system is adversely affecting economic activities in the area. Here's a report by William Benjamin Peters.
The minister also bemoaned the fast deterioration of the road networks. He noted this was caused by the activities of heavy-duty vehicles which convey goods from the mining sites and ports due to the absence of an effective railway network. Mr. Paul Evans Adu expressed regret about the pollution of river bodies by unscrupulous people and companies who exploit the environment for selfish gains. He was not happy that though the region contributed largely to the nation's gross domestic product (GDP), it was the least developed among the 10 regions. Therefore, Mr. Adu called for the quick execution of the plan for the Western Corridor to accelerate the growth of the region.
The challenges which accompany the operation have not been sufficiently addressed, especially by the profit-oriented entities who are exploiting these resources in this region. Besides the adverse effects of mining on economic ventures of residents of the corridor, the environment is also being degraded. Unfortunately, the income arising from the activity accrues to some companies and individuals who do not even pay taxes to the central government.
Steve Ekufu of the National Development Planning Commission also made a presentation on the framework of the establishment of the corridor and called on citizens of the region to ensure its implementation by wooing investors to take up the project. He said that government alone could not shoulder all the responsibilities and urged the chiefs and influential people to spearhead the implementation of the projects to get government support. Member of Parliament for Wassa Amenfi East, Akwesi Oponfusu, however, called for an all-hands-on-deck approach towards the development of the Western region.
The Kumasi High Court has dismissed a suit brought against the Metropolitan Assembly and concerns raised about the Central Market Redevelopment projects. The traders argue that the Assembly failed to follow procedure to relocate them. They also accuse the KMA of not compensating affected traders. And Erastus Asaridonko was in court earlier. He's joined us with some details. Hello, Erastus.
Yeah.
What more can you tell us?
Well, it will be recalled that this case has been heard. This is the second time now. Now, it arises from concerns that the traders have been raising since the announcement of the Central Market Redevelopment Project. Now, they were saying that the KMA has not done due process in relocating them. They are also saying that the Central Market Redevelopment Project itself does not include Kejitia terminal per se, and so they were praying the court to compel the KMA to do what is right and again place an injunction on the project. Now, lawyer for KMA, Tadio Sori, about 2 weeks ago indicated to the court that it doesn't have jurisdiction to listen to that particular case. And then, if per the Local Government Act, if anybody is aggrieved with the Assembly, they will have to petition the Regional Coordinating Council and not the court. And so the court should strike the case out. And so that is what the court did today when it starts second time on this particular case.
What was the response from the traders?
Well, definitely they are disappointed, but then they are saying that they won't speak with me until they've spoken with their lawyer, because they want to decide on the next line of action, whether to appeal or whether to redirect their case to the Regional Coordinating Council. But then by close of day, they would have arrived on a decision on that.
Thank you very much, Erastus. Erastus Asaridonko joined us from Kumasi, where a Kumasi High Court has thrown out a case against the Metropolitan Assembly. But break new grounds. That was a message to managers and staff of the Multimedia Group Limited, mother company of this network, as the company marks its 20th anniversary. The occasion was a special church service to commemorate the company's 2 decades in existence. Starting in 1995 with the establishment of Joy FM, in his sermon, head pastor of ICGC, Pastor Mensa Otabil, lauded the impact of Joy FM and MGO as a whole has made on Ghana.
A huge delegation comprising current staff and former workers of Multimedia Group Limited celebrated today's service with wild jubilation, thanksgiving and dancing in praise as they joined congregants of the Christ Temple. They were led by Chief Executive of the group, Kwesi Chum, who has steered the company since its inception. General Overseer of the International Central Gospel Church, Pastor Mensa Otabil, shared some fond memories of Joy FM.
The first day I recorded my first Living Word broadcast was 18th of May 1995. You say, why do I remember the date? Because that was the date my last born daughter was born. And so, in a sense, Joy is also like my last born. So I hold that station very dear to my heart, and I appreciate them.
Charles Mensah and Ken Addy were employed at Joy FM when the station began operations 20 years ago. They recount their experiences.
They've come a long way, and I was part of the initial stages, and looking at where we were and where they are now, I think we've come a long way. I'm hoping that very soon we'll be an African station selling African to the world, because you've sold Ghana to Africa, you've sold Ghana to the world. Now you're going to sell Africa to the world.
20 years of multimedia, I think we have come far, very, very far. You know, from the humble beginnings. Did you hear what the pastor said in church? He said that looking at the number of people who were here, he was just grateful that the company has been offering jobs to people out there. And he even went on to say he didn't think that the people here today were all the employees of multimedia, which is true. It goes to show how multimedia has grown, and we are happy that the good Lord is with us, and we will keep growing.
So, with the impact the Multimedia Group has made in the media landscape over the last 20 years, what are the prospects going forward? That's the question I posed to some staff members.
Wow, Multimedia's future, I shall stand here. I can say, but all I will say is, let's pray for life. If I do it and I do it well, you will do it and also do it well. May that say.
I see a family that is bringing society together through the power of media and charting the cause of God for society. I see a company that is affecting, that will continue to affect lives than it has ever done before. I foresee the next 20 years of multimedia, I mean, very great.
With the successes chalked within this milestone, there is no doubt the Multimedia Group will continue to be seen as a broadcasting giant, not only in Ghana, but Africa as well.
Welcome again to the business segment on Joy News. Now, some cocoa farmers in the Ashanti region have begun cutting down diseased trees for lack of spraying chemicals. There have been reports of diversion and stealing of chemicals for mass cocoa spraying. A 500-member Cocoa Farmers Association in the Ahafuano South and the Etrima and Wabija South districts are warning of massive destruction of their farms. The farmers concerned confirmed a report by Love FM on how even security personnel and illegal sale of cocoa inputs are happening.
These deprived farmers, angry and frustrated, have journeyed several miles from villages in and around Ekwapim and the Janso communities. Upon hearing media personnel were on a visit to speak with them, they showed us cocoa trees, blackened and prematurely ripened pods due to pest invasion. Some of them have been cutting down affected trees to stop the spread of the disease. They say chemicals meant for the free mass cocoa spraying program do not reach them or reach them in limited quantities with no spraying machines to apply them.
We want to express our gratitude to the president. He has done a lot for farming, including increasing cocoa prices. However, only few of the chemical for spraying cocoa gets to us here. We are about 500 cocoa farmers in this community. All the time, we have 6 farmers sharing a small bottle. This is really affecting farming in the community.
A recent investigative report by Love FM highlighted connivance of security personnel with alleged criminals to steal these chemicals. Nothing appears to have been done following the revelation, and the farmers are calling for immediate action from the president.
We are pleading with the government to do all it can to help us. This is because if the cocoa is not sprayed, it will lead to low yield or it may even die. When this happens, the country loses a lot. We therefore plead with the government to come to our aid.
We are joined on the phone lines by Public Relations Manager of Cocoa Board, Noah Emmanuel. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, the farmers say they are cutting down diseased trees due to pests and also diseases such as black pod. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I'm surprised that a cocoa farmer will cut down a tree due to black pod or due to insect pests. The only reason for which they should cut down cocoa is when it is infected with the viral disease, that is cocoa stolen shoot virus disease. Black pod is treated with a fungicide, and Cocoa Board has distributed fungicides to the farmers. They've done the first spraying, and they are doing the second spraying. Actually, the second spraying is supposed to be done in August. They have received it now. Some have been given to the farmers directly so that when they spot black spot, they can then call on the spraying team to come to their aid. So where there is an endemic situation or an outbreak, Cocoa Board is called on directly, and then the men are sent to the spot to go and evaluate and then treat that farm. So I'm surprised that the report is that due to cocoa trees are being cut.
So clearly you are unaware of this, but now that it has come to Cocoa Board's attention that farmers in Ahafua, North South, and also Etrimawa, in the Ashanti region do not have these sprays, and they are cutting down their trees, maybe because of ignorance. What are you going to do about that?
Yes, we'll quickly get our extension team in that district to go and evaluate the situation and see whether it is true that farmers are cutting down the trees due to black pod, or they are cutting down the trees because they have been asked to do so as a result of stolen shoot disease. And if it is black pod, the extension team will take the appropriate measures. They will get it treated. If it is for a stolen shoot virus, then it is in line that they should cut it off. It means then they are supplying them with free seedlings to replant their farm.
How are you addressing the difficulty they have with getting these chemicals to spray their farms? They claim that there's also stealing and diversion by even security personnel.
I think that you would agree with me that of late we have done a lot of arrests. Police, recently you saw one that happened from Sankore. You saw another one which even involved politicians who had managed to get some fertilizer and use for their primaries. They have been arrested. The case is in court. You also recall a number of arrests, even those that are staff of Cocoa Board. they have been arrested and dealt with appropriately. So we are leaving no stone unturned. We'll make sure that anyone who tampers with fertilizer or chemicals meant for farmers for free will be appropriately dealt with. Okay. So I think that there is a much more sanity in the system now, and the security agencies are moving on the ground looking for traces of people who are trying to divert the chemicals and fertilizers.
Okay.
If we get any such reports, we will take the appropriate action. But I want to assure the farmers that Cocoa Board is doing all it can. This year we have bought more chemical than ever. We bought more fertilizer than ever, and it is for their good. And we will make sure that they get this input to improve their productivity.
Okay, no, I will surely stay in touch with Cocoa Board on that. And that's a Public Relations Manager for Cocoa Board, Noah Amenya. Now, Enterprise Life is one of the fastest growing insurance companies in the country. In 2011, it was the highest ranked company from the financial sector in the Ghana Club 100. Doing business with Multimedia Group Limited, according to Enterprise Life, has contributed a great deal to the success it has chalked in the last 15 years. Executive Director C.C. Bruce Jr. has been speaking to Joy Business on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the Multimedia Group Limited.
Joy certainly has a wide audience, and your kind of audience appear to coincide with the target market Enterprise Life looks for. So it's been very beneficial. Your audience just fits our target market. And then again, with your regional presence and affiliates, I guess it has matched our regional expansion. So as Enterprise Life grew, from one center for one branch to 3 branches, 5 branches, 20+ branches, there's always been a Joy presence or affiliate to reach our potential policyholders. 20 years of success, I guess, 20 years of constant broadcasting, 20 years of growth is quite an achievement. From us, from Enterprise Life Assurance, we are happy to have had this partnership with you, and we thank God that He's seen you through this past 20 years.
And that's it for business on Joy News today on Multi TV. I'm Francisca Kakra-Foss, and coming up next is sports.
Very good afternoon to you. Still here on News Today. My name is Benedict Owusu, and we'll talk sports. Now, in the very first story, Ghana midfielder Sule Muntari has completed his move to Saudi Arabian side Al Ittihad on a 2-year deal contract. Now, the 30-year-old was available on a free transfer after terminating his contract with AC Milan at the end of the season. According to reports, Muntari will earn €7 million a year and will play a leading role for the Jeddah-based side. Now, the 2010 UEFA Champions League winner with Inter Milan is set to open another chapter in his career, having played for Udinese, Portsmouth and Sunderland, and recently playing for AC Milan in Italy. Now we can do something on the First Capital Plus Premier League, and champions Kumasi Asante Kotoko were able to beat Ashgold at the Babara Stadium yesterday in their game, their match day 24 game. Well, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, having suffered back-to-back defeats, managed to win that game, and it was Frank Safu Jemfi who scored the match-only goal. So Accra Heart of Oak losing there to New Dibiase on Saturday. So what's going to happen is that this week there's going to be a big game at the Accra Sports Stadium. That's the super clash involving Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Heart of Oak. And at this point, both teams are struggling to escape relegation. It promises to be a great game at the Accra Stadium. So we look at matches that were played over the weekend, and Accra Great Olympics were at the Accra Stadium, where they played host to Mediama SC. They won that game by 2-1. Liberty Professionals at the Dansuman Karindorf Park defeated Wafa by a 0-0. And Asante Kotoko, as you witnessed on your screens, they defeated Ashanti Gold League leaders by a 0-0. Heart of Lions played at home to Wa All Stars. They won by 2-0. Liviana Stars defeated the Interlights by a 0-0. And Hazakes also beat BA United by 2-0. Dubiase, they were at home to Heart of Oak, ended 2-1. And Bechem United defeated Bekum Chelsea by 2-1. Well, away from the First Capital Plus Premier League, Black Stars midfielder Andrea Yu scored his first goal for his new club Swansea City in their 1-1 pre-season draw with Nottingham Forest on Saturday. After a goalless first ever you raced onto flick from a Cal Norton pass before racing on and firing low into the net from 8 yards after 59 minutes. Sure you stay tuned here on the Joy News channel at 2. There is more with Nathaniel Ato on Sports Today. My name is Benedict Owusu. Enjoy the rest of the program.
Hello, thanks for your time here on News Today. Showbiz is brought to you by Airtel. My name is Gladys Osei Oredu. And in our very first story, Multimedia had a Thanksgiving sermon at a Central Gospel Church last Sunday, and the fashion that displayed, it was more like the live gate had been opened for all staff at Multimedia. Well, let me share with you some of the styles that showed up at the Thanksgiving.
Because all the praise belongs to God. Here we go. It's to our God. Every word of worship. With one accord. Every praise. Is to our God. Come on, everybody. Sing hallelujah. To our God. Glory, hallelujah. Is due our God. Come on, say every praise. Say every praise. Is to our God. Y'all know how we do it. Take it up. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship with one accord. Come on, say every praise. Every praise is to our God. I want everybody all over the world to sing hallelujah to our God. Glory, hallelujah is to our God. Every praise is to our God. Let's take it up one more time. Every praise. Come on, everybody. Every word of worship with one accord. Every praise is to our God. I don't care how you're feeling right now. Sing hallelujah to our God. Glory, hallelujah.
Well, so the next time you have an event, you know you can call on any staff from Multimedia and your style, rest assured you get something for the event. And the last one, he says that he was actually designing himself. It wasn't just necessarily style. Well, so those were some fashion tastes from the staff of Multimedia. Now moving on, songstress Efia, together with her friends over the weekend, thrilled their fans in a musical party. The event was to enable them to keep up with their fans and give them more reason to continue loving them.
All of the things that you want, wait a minute, stop, wait a minute, stop, take a minute, please, and wait a minute, stop. Oh, can you break it down for me? When you did not stop, when it takes some time to get to the top, make up your mind to never ever stop. No one's to the left, right. We are not back, we are not you. Why don't you want to oh boy, you know I can't do nothing without you. No girl, yeah, na. 'Cause we can't be perfect, but me I'm perfect when I am me. 'Cause I met my baby from that first step. I will be perfect naturally. Whatever you do, or don't mean it well, it won't find you. I'll be there for you.
If you know what I want to ask you, what?
Something inside you. It's keeping you away.
You know, I'm still trying to figure how I'm going to make it. You gotta speak English? I hate it. I wish y'all could understand my language because it's beautiful. So y'all can call me the greatest. You know, when I listen to Kendrick, spit roll bars and keeping it 100, I'm like, damn, I really know I can do J. Cole. Then I listen to Big Sean. Only if they know. All I gotta work on is the flow and the diction. African speak flow, African flow. See, I'm
on our top stories this hour. Pinkerton junior doctors reject government's proposal to settle their salaries by Friday. Construction expert advocates for the use of professionals in developing any structure after cantonment building collapse. Thanks for joining us here on Joy News today. My name is Kimini Nyamani. I'm on our top